Hi guys, it's Jess from Honest Fiction, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be sharing my absolute favorite super spicy romance books. Alright guys, so it has been quite a while since I've done a spicy rec video. So all the books on this list have slightly more spice than they do plot, and sometimes those are just the books I'm in the mood for. Now I do have a mix of dark romance, there are a few novellas in here, some monster romance, there's a variety. But anyway, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. You can also hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I post new bookish content. You can also check out my Instagram and Goodreads, both linked down below. With all that out of the way, let's talk about these spicy books. So starting off with one of my absolute favorite super spicy age gap romances, we have The Doctor by Nikki Sloane. So this is one of the first Nikki Sloane books I ever read, and it was such a fun time. So the best way I can describe this book is if you took Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas and you took out a decent amount of the character development and some of the plot and you subbed it with some really spicy scenes, you get The Doctor by Nikki Sloane, and it is a wild, really fun time. So we are following Cassidy, and Cassie has been dating this guy Preston, or this kid Preston, from high school into college. Now Cassidy feels like Preston is kind of just like using her for a good time, and she ends up breaking up with him. So soon after breaking up with her boyfriend, she ends up having an entanglement with her boyfriend's father, Dr. Lowe. Hence the name The Doctor. So Dr. Lowe and Cassidy begin this secret relationship, and it is something. There are a lot of fun times had throughout this book. I do wish we got a little bit more of the romance between the two characters, but honestly, this book was really fun. So if you love age gap romances and also boyfriend's or ex-boyfriend's father, definitely check out The Doctor. In keeping with the ex-boyfriend's dad trend, we have Your Dad Will Do by Katee Robert. So this is a really spicy novella. It's actually my favorite in this Katee Robert series. So we are following this woman who ends up breaking up with her longtime boyfriend and shows up at his father's doorstep ready for a spicy time in order to get payback against her ex-fiancé. And the story goes from there. 90% of this book is spicy time. I think this is actually classified as erotica. However, I loved their romance and I love them together, and this is one of my absolute favorite Katee Robert novellas. It actually might be one of my absolute favorite Katee Robert books in general. I just loved the chemistry between the two characters, and the spicy moments and the angst were perfection. So if you want a really spicy ex-boyfriend's dad age gap novella, definitely check out Your Dad Will Do. Next up, we have Love Unexpected by Q.B. Tyler. So this was the first Q.B. Tyler book I ever read, and while this book does have more plot than the previous two books I mentioned, I was not prepared for the amount of spice present in this book. There are a lot of very spicy scenes. So this is an age gap romance. We are following Stasia, and when she is very young, she develops a crush on her school principal. Unfortunately, her school principal ends up marrying her mother, making him her stepfather. So obviously nothing happens. That is until Stasia's mother is in a car accident and unfortunately passes away. So now Stasia and Dominic, her stepdad, enter a relationship one night, and it kind of goes from there. I did really enjoy this, but like I said, I had no idea the amount of spice that was gonna pop up in this book, and it starts pretty early into the book, so just be prepared. But overall, this is a really good age gap romance and also ex-stepdad romance. And this next book is another age gap novella. It is Take My Daddy, I'll Take Yours. And I actually have a very embarrassing gas station story that goes along with this book, so I will insert the reel so you guys can see how I was absolutely mortified because of this cover. So, super quick story time. I had to get an oil change. So I've been going to the same place to get my oil change for the last like 2 years. And after they change the oil, they normally vacuum and clean your car, which is awesome. So I go there and I'm getting ready to pay. And the guy was like, oh, we found like a couple books under your seat, so we put them on your passenger seat before we vacuumed. And I was like, oh yeah, no big deal. And I couldn't even think of like what books I had in my car. This was the book. This is the book that they saw, that they put on my passenger side seat. And now, like, do I never go back? Because, like, out of all of the books, why? But anyway, this book is about a woman who ends up having a one-night stand with this older gentleman. They have a really good time, And the next day, she finds out that it's actually the father of the woman her father is about to marry. So there's a little bit of family drama towards the end of this book, but overall, this was a really fun novella. And if you like the whole daddy vibe, I would definitely check this out. All right, so the next two books on this list are White Shoes, and they actually have a decent amount of plot, and I absolutely love the characters and the story. However, I'm including them in this video just because there are a lot of super steamy scenes, so I figured, why not? So first up, we have The Losers by Harley LaRoux. This is part 1. There's also a part 2, and there's a prequel novella called The Dare. So Losers is following Jenika, and when she is in high school, she is very, very popular, and she kind of takes advantage of the losers or the freaks in her high school, like really picks on them. Her entire friend group just kind of make these kids' lives a living hell. So she ends up going off to college, and then she ends up going back to her hometown where she is in an entanglement with the losers again. So she ends up having some car trouble. The losers own this mechanic shop, and they agree to fix her car if she will belong to them for however long they choose. And the story goes from there. It is so good, and I highly, highly recommend checking out the audiobook for this. I just think the narrators take it to another level. Like, it is perfection. I can't wait to pick up the second book in this duet. It's gonna be good. But anyway, if you like White Shoes romance, definitely check out The Losers. And next up is Heartless, Heathens by Santana Knox. So I recently read this. It is by far my favorite White Shoes romance. It is a dark gothic romance that is very loosely based on The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I highly recommend checking the trigger warnings before starting this. The author does not hold back in any aspects. So the story is following Romina, and she has been raised her entire life in a bell tower, being kind of held captive by Father Frollo. So in this world, the church has taken over the government, so they pretty much control everything, and one of the heads of the church is Father Frollo. So he controls this university, and he also, like I said, has been holding Romina in a bell tower her entire life. So one day, these 3 heathens show up, and they are ready to take down the church, and they end up offering Romina sanctuary in their own special way, and the story goes from there, and it is absolutely glorious. I loved all of the characters in this. I thought they were so well done. I loved the story overall, and the spicy scenes were top-notch. So highly, highly recommend if you like dark White Shoes romance. And next up is a group of monster novellas, and I want to say that I don't like them. However, I keep reading the new ones when they're released, so there is something about them that is pulling my interest. Yeah, they're definitely not going to be for everyone, and check trigger warnings. So first up, we have The Beast, and this is by Jenika Snow. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but in this, the Beast stays the beast, and he has a little bit of a breeding kink, and he really wants to get our Belle character pregnant, despite the fact that he has kidnapped her and locked her away in a castle. So it does have an HEA, and it is, all of this book is spice. This is a very, very spicy book. But it is not quite as spicy as The Hunter, which is slightly longer, and I feel like all of those extra pages just added some more spicy scenes. So this is a Red Riding Hood retelling, and in this, the wolf stays a wolf the entire time. So just know that going in, wolf the whole time. Never changes into a human, just stays a wolf. So they also have a lot of fun times, and it goes from there. And then I have no idea why, I picked up her latest release. I forget the name of it, but it is a 3 Bears reimagining, and somehow it is the spiciest of all 3 novellas. It is literally just Goldilocks and the 3 Bears having a wild and great time. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, and let me tell you, they're the spiciest books in this entire list, definitely check them out. I still don't know how I feel about them, but yet I keep reading them, so there's something about them that is drawing my attention. But yeah, go in without warning. And next up is Desperate Measures by Katee Robert. So this is part of the Wicked Villain series, and all of these books are based on Disney villains, and they are all very, very spicy. So this one is my favorite by far from the ones I've read. I think I've only read up to book 3, and this is Jafar and Jasmine. So in this story, Jasmine has been not abducted, but kind of taken by Jafar after her father's death, and Jafar, while holding Jasmine captive, he also really loves her and wants to protect her. And Aladdin is our villain, and Aladdin is trying to steal Jasmine to steal power from her father's company. So I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, there's a lot of really like fun, spicy scenes. Hades also owns this like underground like sex club, and they have a great time there. All of the books actually go to that club at one point. But overall, this is definitely my favorite and highly recommend if you're looking for some Disney spicy time. And this last book, personally, didn't work for me. However, this book is beloved. So it is Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, and it is a Why Choose monster romance. And I just know so many people that love this book. So definitely give it a try if you're into monster romance. So we are following, I believe her name is Esther, and she's working as a maid. However, she has a very healthy sexual appetite. So she ends up being offered a position at Rooksgrave Manor, which is like a house of ill repute. And there's a bunch of monsters. So it becomes a Why Choose. She has a bunch of monster boyfriends. So we have a Golem, we have the Invisible Man, we have, I think, like Dr. Frankenstein, just every monster you can think of, and they all have a really fun time, sometimes together, sometimes separate, and it goes from there. Personally, I needed slightly more plot just because this was a little bit longer of a book, and like 80% of it was spicy time. However, if that is something you are looking for, definitely pick up Lady of Rooksgrave Manor. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Those are all my favorite super spicy romances. Please let me know down in the comments below if there is a super spicy rec you have for me. I love getting recommendations from you guys. And I said this already, I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will see you all next week.